All right, well, welcome to the July 2024 Nutrition Coordinators meeting. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're all having a good summer, getting rain where you need it, and not too much of it if you are. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll go around the room and just see what's up, give us an update about what's going on this summer, any activities you have, news, maybe challenges, things you needed to share. We'll go around and take care of that, and afterwards we will do a presentation on regulations. So we'll start out with, I think I saw Aon on there first. So if you want to go ahead and get us started, Samantha.
It's very hot out. We are doing well. So we've finalized everything with Hay Springs and Gordon. So those are just our home delivereds from two other sites. And so far that seems to be going really well. To-goes are still very strong. Just, starting over with the new fiscal year, going out and visiting sites, things of that nature. We've been getting a lot of our food establishment evaluations, so reviewing those and making sure, everything's in compliance. We have distributed all of our farmers market coupons, so I just need to work on all the data entry in the computer. But that went really quick for us, and so far a lot of positive feedback. I was able to network with Casey Foster, and then she sent me I can't remember that guy's name. I think we saw him on a webinar before, about helping to get more vendors in our area and things like that. I think there's a stigma where people think it's really challenging to get signed up to be a vendor. So just kind of spreading that awareness that it's not as difficult as people may think, and it's definitely worth it. Aside from that, I don't think we have there's nothing really new going on here. We're settled into our new building and yeah, just plugging away.
Awesome. Well, good to hear. Yeah, I definitely know that that is a challenge. So, like, if you have more comments and stuff like that regarding the farmers market coupon vendors too, yeah, Casey, he's the head of the ag department there, but then Nolan Lemna
Yeah.
is the one under him who's kind of working on it too. So, yeah, if you guys have questions and stuff concerning vendors too, definitely send them to him, so that they're aware of that with training and stuff next year. So, thank you so much for that. Any questions for Samantha? All right, if not, I saw Carmen on next. So Carmen, if you want to go ahead and take it from there.
Okay, well, I'm very similar. We have all the farmers market coupons that we're going to give out, and I too have to work on entering all the data. That's going to hopefully be a quiet day behind a closed door and let my fingers do the entering. So right now with us, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary with Blue Rivers Area Agency on Aging. And we are getting ready for site open house number 6, which is tomorrow in Beatrice. Most of our open houses have been really well received. We take we take a care manager that goes into that area. I go to all of them. Carla's been going to almost all of them. Our care manager or coordinator is going to all of them. So we have services available. We're giving blood pressures, and people seem to really like those. Getting the word out has been a little bit of a challenge. People don't read a newspaper. A lot of people don't listen to a regular radio station. They listen to Sirius XM. So this has been a huge challenge for us, but we're emailing everybody. I'm asking for everybody to forward those emails. Some of the centers have been very well receptive to that. So that has been kind of a fun time right now. Our last one is next week on next Tuesday in Deshler. And then other than that, I do have I don't even know when I did all these, or when we've done all these. We did close Palmyra, which I think I told you that the last time due to lack of people coming. And then our Wymore, we're going to lose our site for Wymore's. And so we are working diligently. We have to be out of that center by August 31st. But when I got a hold of community members in Wymore, everyone has stepped up to the plate. I've got churches offering. I've got a public housing area that has a brand new redone area that is willing to work with us. So first week of August, that's where we'll start trying to get a new location for that center. So other than that, that's about all I have right now.
All right. Well, I mean, it's kind of mixed news from Wymore. It seems like, they're losing the center, but at the same time, people are willing to step up and host something. So that's always a really good sign. That's really good to hear. So, well, very good. And congratulations again on the anniversary at Blue Rivers. That's pretty cool. Very good. Any questions for Carmen? Thank you so much. If not, we'll move on to Enoa, and we can go with Caitlin and Allison, whichever one of you wants to go first.
Okay,
Hey.
sorry, I couldn't get unmuted. Today we are actually running about a little over 1,300 meals served for our total congregate. We did see June, we were down about 800. We did have Corrigan close. And the most heartwarming thing that we had was that the seniors who were pretty much 4 to 5 day a week participants, they have all found their way to get transportation, or if they have their own car, they're going to other locations and becoming very active in other centers. And so that's been great for us, because those were the people we were worried the most about, because they lived on the block that the building was on. But many of our centers and some of their nonprofits got to get some of our equipment that we moved out of there, which is what took up all of my July. Caitlin and I and another one of our coworkers enjoyed going to the U.S. Aging Conference a couple weeks ago. Got some really great ideas that we're hoping to either implement or look into. Farmers market went well. What I think was best for us, we pre-printed stickers with the numbers on them. And of course, because the way Avery is, I had to print 4 numbers, and some centers were like, but I don't need the 4th number. I'm like, I have no other way to print them. But they really enjoyed it. They were glad everything. And we still have, even yesterday, I took a call from somebody wanting to know if we still had any available. And so it was very well received. We just visited with one of our centers, the Nebraska Urban Indian Health Coalition, is starting a project that they partnered with New York State and to do a research project on isolation. And they were able to purchase 20 of the LEQs, which is kind of like, if you haven't seen one, it's like an Alexa on steroids. It will talk to you, it will react with you, it will start to get to know you. But they got 20 of those, and then over 100 of the Hasbro pets, dogs. There's dogs, cats, and birds. So we actually met with them yesterday And the project is starting with their elders, but they wanted to get some more possibilities to continue a year's worth of research to show that not only is there isolation in New York area, but there is isolation here in, the Midwest, and there isn't any other Midwestern states that are taking part of this. So hopefully we will get on board with that. I know we saw the LEQ and the pets at the aging conference, and they looked really cute and nice and expensive. And when we got the call, it was kind of exciting. So looking forward to that. And so that's pretty much for Congregate. I'll let Caitlin take over.
For home delivered, constantly adding new people, but they don't stay on for very long. So I don't know exactly what's going on. We are working in our new software system. That's going well. It's routing our routes nicely. That's all good. We partner with the Nebraska Humane Society to provide animals to our that have enough money to pay for their pet food. And the program has been always extremely small, but they have a new coordinator and they want to grow it. So we're going to expand it to, well, we only serve like 5 people right now, but they want to add at least the 7 that we have on. They provide enough food for their pets for the month, and they deliver monthly. So it's a really nice. Wanted to see it grow, but it hasn't had the opportunity, and now it looks like we will. So that's always good. And then next month, so I hope to learn and bring more fresh ideas back.
Well, very good. You're cutting out there a little bit with the microphone a little bit, but I think we did catch with some of the aid for funding for individuals with was it for pet food? Is that what it was? You were cutting out it. The microphone went up and then it cuts out and then it goes up and then it cuts down.
It is pet food called Animals. It's pet food for our clients.
I have to say that one more time.
Say it one more time. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pet food for our clients. And
Okay. I think we got most of it. Sorry. It's like it's going. I can hear you. And then it cuts out. Okay, but okay. I think I know what you're saying. Well, very good. That's awesome. Well, good. I'm glad you both are. That's great updates. Sounds like you guys are doing really well. And that what a great project to be a part of with New York State and bringing back knowledge from the conference and things like that. So it turns out, especially with the new technology that you're able to utilize, that sounds amazing. Those are just some key bits of technology to use for isolation and in older adults. So yeah, definitely keep us up to date on that. Anybody have any questions for Allison or Caitlin? Okay, next we'll move on to Jill at Aging Partners.
Hello. Things have been going well here. I also attended the U.S. Aging Conference in Tampa as well. So it was hot, but it was very good. It's always nice to kind of hear what's going on with different programs across the country. And to me, it always kind of helps humble on all the services that we provide and everything. It just kind of reiterates how much our agencies across our state do. But always good to get some fresh ideas and coordinate with other people and kind of get to know what their programs include. So that was a good conference. Things have been going well. Our farmers market coupons are all distributed. I'm on about a 70 75-person wait list right now. So I'm still getting calls daily for people to be placed on the wait list. So there's that. We did get the data entry for the farmers market coupons. It was a little bit challenging in that you have to go into each client's record 3 times in order to get them the coupons issued. So I have 633 clients, so that was about 1,500 times we had to go into client profiles.
Oh my goodness.
So that was a bit challenging to unarchive them, issue the benefits, and all of that. So there's some feedback on that. We are currently doing our county board reports where we go to each highlight what services have been provided in the last year, and that's where we get our county funds to help with our federal match. So those presentations have been going really well, and it's always fun to highlight the program managers, their services, and show how numbers have increased compared to last year. So we are preparing for our county monitoring visits. We will start those beginning of August. So we will go out to all of our sites and do the annual monitoring review, and that will include Lancaster County as well. So I anticipate August and September to be busy with a lot of travel. In terms of our counties, the Strong Bodies program is going wonderful in Saline County. They are having about 4 classes a week with about 25 to 30 clients. And what they've found is that this has really helped them to increase their programming to the younger older adults. The 60 to 65 age group has really brought in more consistent numbers with the Strong Bodies program. So that's been beneficial to see, just to kind of help people get their foot in the door, and helps not only with the exercise component and the socialization, but it helps them to get to know the program staff and what other services are available. Just seems like we've been racking our brains for the last several years on how do we get that younger, older adult generation into the centers, and the Strong Bodies program has proven to do that in Saline County. So that's been positive. And I think that's about it.
That's excellent. Yeah, and I was wondering about that, how that program was going, but that's good to hear that it's doing well. That's excellent. Well, that's great. Wonderful, wonderful news. And I'm glad you're able to attend the conference too. Did you see anybody else you knew, or?
I ran into Allison at one or two of our the meetings that we went to.
Oh, that's
the
fun.
presentations. So
That's-
yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, cool. Well, great to hear. Any questions for Jill at Aging Partners? Okay, if not, we'll move on to, how about Lori at Northeast?
Hello, everybody. We are doing good here. We had our open house last week. We did our end of the year reports, and the reports are really good. Congregants up. So everything looked good there. The farmers market is going really good. Most of my coupons are out. I just got one center that has a few that aren't out, or she hasn't got out yet. But otherwise, starting my monitoring to the centers next month, and otherwise nothing really, just going good. So it's about all.
Awesome, very good. Well, that's good to hear. And yeah, you guys have you had your open house there. We could not make it, but that's really cool. Yeah, you guys have your new place. So well,
Yeah.
very good. Awesome. Well, any questions for Lori at Northeast? All right, if not, we'll move on to Rachel at Midland.
Hello, everyone. I think this last month has just been a lot of the same stuff. Farmers market, most of ours are out. We have just a handful left. I'm thinking probably giving it through the end of this month for the random people who may be calling in, And then I may just have a small bundle to offer back, so that we can get them used somewhere better than just letting them go. It's that season. I've been covering a lot of vacation. Then you still have people who get sick, and usually someone gets sick while someone's on vacation, so it always makes it a little extra crazy. We've been having some staffing changes too, some people leaving positions, and so we've had interviews and trying to get those filled with people who will do just as good of a job. I did volunteer training here in Hastings. It's one of our biggest routes as far as home delivered meals go. And so I really just sat down with them and explained to them some of the requirements and why we don't do certain things like leaving meals and all of those things, and was able to hear their concerns and questions. And it was a really good training event. And with the beginning of the new year, I've been working with the city, who is taking over managing a senior center, and then working with a new kitchen that we're taking over managing. So it's just been a lot of just shifting responsibilities. And so there's been lots of talking and sending information on. Other than that, that's the gist of that. I do have a list of questions. Did we meet at the beginning of June or something? Because it feels like it's been a really long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been since we met June. If it's something kind of quick, we can talk about it. If not, we could talk about it at the end.
We can do it at the end. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, totally up to you. But yeah, we could just hold that thought real quick, and we'll come back to you. Any questions for South Central? Or not South, I'm sorry, Midland. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking down at my thing here and it said South Central. Any questions for Rachel at Midland? All right, thank you so much, Rachel. Let's see here. Speaking of South Central, I don't see a name
Hi
here.
there.
Oh, there is Sue.
Well,
Okay.
yep. I was traveling, so I just hurried back and finally got on. Beautiful day out, to say the least. Things have been busy, been very, very busy with the vouchers. And if anybody does have extra, I need some. I have, at least 20 plus people that would like to have some that I don't have any extra for. Been busy just in general, trying to get out more to the senior centers. I finished the blood pressure class in Minden, and I hope to start one in Alma here next month. At 3 o'clock, I have a call with the Heart Association and Minden Senior Center. We are going to move forward to do a blood pressure hub there, and also one in Holdridge that we have a call with them tomorrow morning. So things are just, it's just a good thing with that. Other than that, like others mentioned, it's the year end, finish those reports, and just can't believe time just flies. Other than that, if there's anything else going on, I can't think of it at the moment. So,
Okay. Well, perfect. No, that sounds wonderful. No, that sounds like a plan. I'm glad you got continuing on with the blood pressure hub, and that sounds wonderful. Any questions for South Central at Sue at South Central? Thank you so much. If not, we'll move on to West
you're
Central. I think that's
welcome.
Angie. Angie's down there. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Angie.
How is everybody doing?
Doing all right.
We're doing pretty good out here. We got some changeover in some directors going on. We have one new one that is just started fresh. And we have a couple openings for a couple more. So changes. Never ending, but and it can be challenging at times for those. But we're going good. Farmers market going fairly well. I've had Some communities going great with them. Other communities are just really struggling because of the vendors yet. But the southwest section of Nebraska just doesn't have a lot of vendors there. Otherwise, we're going good. Hopefully, we'll have, well, and we might have some left over that I will send back to you, Eric, possibly in another week or two, if we can't use them all up.
Okay. Yeah, and we can work on doing something where if people need stuff, you know, if you have excess and want to send them back, we can redistribute them. So just, yeah, get in touch with me, and then we'll, if you have demands, send me some notes and stuff like that, and let me know.
Will do. Unfortunately,
Okay.
a lot's been hit by hail this year, and it's
Yeah.
widespread. So a lot of the gardens that maybe, I know there's been a couple of vendors that pretty much lost a lot of it. So
Yeah.
this year just might be a little bit more of a struggle.
Okay. Yeah, it just sounds like, yeah, he'll hit that place pretty bad. So. All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you, Angie, very much. Does anybody have any questions for Angie at West Central? All right. If not, then I'm going to see here, share my screen with all of you. And we're going to do a review. Let's see here, get this to work. Okay. All right. Can everybody see that okay? Everybody see my screen?
No. Oh.
Let's see here.
I can see it. It says review of upcoming OAA regulation updates.
Yep. Can anybody see that?
I can see it.
Okay.
I just have you on the phone, Eric, so I don't have
Oh,
this.
okay. Okay. Well, yeah, you need to use WebEx and you'll be able to see it. Well, I'll go ahead and run through it. So basically, this is what we're going to do is I'm just going to give you a quick PowerPoint presentation on review of upcoming OAA regulation updates. Okay. So just to kind of mix some of this stuff in, well, kind of make it fun, but on April 18th, we gave out basically the information memorandum that had some of these new upcoming definitions, and these upcoming definitions and also parts of regulations. Basically right now they are in effect. They took effect March 15th of this year, but we have until October 1st of 2025 to update policies and practices to ensure compliance. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these kind of rather quickly, and since, you know, regulations can be kind of boring, I'll mix in some just fun facts in there. But one of the cool things, though, is with these new definitions that have been added are things like domestically produced foods. And that basically tells you that, you know, with NSUP, it's asking for domestically produced foods. These types of things are just, whether they're packaged, processed, or whatever in the United States, they're all acceptable. So this gives you a little bit further definition of what they are. And I think that's one of the things that really does help. One thing to think about actually was, I think that there may be some types of foods that are not produced or packaged in the U.S. That could be not considered domestically produced food. So if you're getting stuff from a vendor, it's a domestically produced food, whether if it's whether it's Cisco or Cashway or whatever. Those would all be fine. So this just further defines that. Okay, and then also just to let you know, in 1975, the Hustle was #1 during this week, and also followed by 10cc, I'm Not in Love, and that was a great song. Eagles too, Olivia Newton-John, Wings as well. So greatest social need, that's really important because this definition itself is extremely important, and it'll show up in other places too, because greatest social need encompasses all of these things. Okay, and so what they did was they further just expanded this definition and included all of these different things. So when somebody thinks about what's the greatest social need, number one, physical and mental disabilities, individuals who are more vulnerable would definitely need that greatest social need. So when you look through the IM, making sure that this part right here is defined is really important to include all these aspects. Okay, means test. That definition, we've talked about it a lot in the past, but really it's making sure that therefore a person cannot be denied or limited based on someone's income, assets, or other resources. Okay, so they're an eligible person. They can't be means tested for a meal based off of their economic status. Okay. Periodic, that definition itself isn't really such a part of nutrition, but I feel like it's really important because it does mean that this is what they consider to be an evaluation or something that's done at least a minimum once each fiscal year. Okay, so not a lot of stuff for nutrition, but having that put in there is important if they mention anything with periodic frequencies. Supplemental foods, that's really important. Supplemental foods, this is where we can talk about liquid nutrition supplements like Ensure and whatnot, can definitely be eligible, but alone they do not count for a meal. Okay, and I know sometimes in the past people have thought about, well, does an Ensure count as a meal if I just give an Ensure out to an individual? Does that count as a congregate or home delivered meal? It does not, but it can be included to enhance a meal. Okay. Voluntary contributions, that's really important because this is a specific new definition talking about resources from individuals given freely without pressure or coercion. So we say suggested contributions, voluntary contributions, it's more, it has more of a definition now, which is really great. And then for this week in July 1980, Still Rock and Roll to Me by Billy Joel. From his Glass Houses album was #1. So also Olivia Newton-John was there again. So she just really had a stellar career. So Title III-C. Now this is important to think about because when you think about what we have written now, this is going to have to change in a state plan and also the area plan. Okay. What's going to be written here is a little bit different because it talks about C1, Title C1, and the addition of being able to use up to 25% of it for to-go meals. Okay. This takes a little bit of time to wrap your head around, but once you kind of think about it when it comes to the budget, the state plan will have to be amended, and then the area plans will have to be amended if you wish to use up to 25% of your funding for C1 for to-go meals. You can still use it for C2, but with the popularity of to-go meals, you can then use part of the C1 congregate meal budget, but it can only be up to 25% for C1 only. Okay, and I'm not going to read through all this stuff just for time constraints, but there's a lot of information on there about why this needs to be, and they're trying to accommodate for new individuals coming in, people who are working, things like that. And I'll send this presentation out to everybody. You can use it for whatever, and then you have our IM as well. But basically, it's saying that the paragraph talking about Title III-C1 shall not exceed 25% of the funds expended by the state agency. And so yeah, that's just something we'll have to plan for going ahead. Okay, and we can have conversations about that later. But it's good news, it really is, because if you wish to use or expand your to-go meal funding, you can use some of the C1. Okay. Also, this kind of is where some of those things like greatest economic need and greatest social need play a part of the new regulations. So they use those definitions and put them in this language here. Also talks about during a disaster, you know, who has priority or what you would use some of these meals for. Greatest social and economic need first. Okay. Now with C2, home delivered meals, and you'll read it right here, especially at the bottom where it's italicized, meals may be provided via home delivery, pickup, carry out, drive through, or similar meals. So C2 would still remain the same, okay? The only difference is you would have with C1, you could use up to 25% of that budget for to-go meals as well, okay? So it kind of gives you like, you know, C2 you wouldn't have as much of. So it's like if people are doing more to-go meals, you could dip into C1 a little bit with that cap on there, right? So I would encourage everybody to go through and read these and ask questions. In 1985, Every Time You Go Away, which that song was popular in the movie Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, but 2 years later, 1987. But Paul Young, Shout, Tears for Fears, excellent album, Songs from the Big Chair. Whitney Houston's debut album, and then also View to a Kill, 1985's most popular song from the movie A View to a Kill. So, all right. Nutrition services, making sure that eligibility for home delivered meals may include consideration of an individual's ability to be, and then here's where it gives that kind of definition of social need and economic need, okay? So if you guys were looking for something that was a little bit more specific for criteria for home delivered meals, here it is, okay? This gives a little bit more details on the degree of XYZ, okay? So if you look at our notes, it talks about including more criteria, and then you can look back at the definitions for social and economic need and how they're tied specifically together. All right, moving forward here, really, with this nutrition education information needs to be provided. That's a must, or shall, I should say. Now, nutrition counseling, when it does talk about this, really down there in the red, that's all you need to know. The difference between the two is the availability of a registered dietitian. So obviously, with new regulations, they're saying, yes, please provide nutrition counseling. If you don't have a registered dietitian around, or you know, don't have the services available, then obviously you can't provide the service. So if you're reading that and you're like, we have to start doing this, well, if you don't have the resources available, i.e. availability of resources and the expertise of an RD, then you can't do it, okay? So that's just the only difference on that between updates for nutrition education and counseling. 1990 was really important because of kind of the movement of different types of music, but Billy Idol was still hitting the top 5, which was really good. In Vogue, great band, I like them too. So nutrition services, other nutrition services include additional services. So this is basically just making sure that you could provide individuals with weighted utensils, supplemental foods, oral nutrition supplements such as Ensure, or even groceries, things like that. They can't count as a meal, but this would be allowed under Title C1 or C2 as an additional service, okay? So it's great because some of these expand some of the things that people or eligible participants would be able to receive. All right, and just to kind of finish up for nutrition, basically the regulation continues to establish the provision of meals and nutrition services 5 or more days per week in accordance with the OAA. Now, when we're met with that situation here in Nebraska, we still have the program instruction in place, and that will still hold true, that especially in rural areas, you know, if you cannot maintain, 5 days a week, we further define that as, this number of people, whether it's 50,000 or 2,500 in a rural setting, or less than that, which would be a rural setting, that you could do every other day or whatever. All right, moving on to 1995. TLC Waterfalls was number one. Oh yeah, and some great R&B for 1995. Also, Huskers won the national championship too, so that was a good year. All funds provided under Part C 3 must be using the interstate funding formula. There's nothing new there. Let's see here, nutrition services. Let's see here, this part just talks about, it has inserted definitions like means tested, etc. Just saying that needs to provide meals according to the dietary guidelines for Americans and the DRIs, etc. There's nothing new there. In 2012, had a really good lineup. I like that song, Payphone by Maroon 5. That was a good one. More modern music there. All right, so nutrition services, the state agency may choose to receive their INSEP grant as cash, commodities, and or a combination of cash and commodities. All right, that's still the same, basically. They continue to define the use of INSEP. Now remember that the definition has now changed of domestically produced foods, which is good. And that's more inclusive. So if you're having any questions regarding that, take a look at that definition and ask questions if you have them. And for this week in 2024, A Bar Song by Shabuzi. I had some help by Post Malone. That's a good song. I like that one. Definitely a kind of a merging of a country slash R&B movement we have going on. It's really good. I don't know. Okay, and last but not least, Title 3D, evidence-based disease prevention, health promotion services, basically saying that all programs provided must be evidence-based and must meet the requirements. Nothing new there at all. But the insertion of the word must is new, okay? Now, when we talk about must and shall, things like that, that's saying that the program that's executing the services must do that. There's no option, so, but it's really nothing new to us. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much it on that rock and roll music themed review. Let's see here. Put this back online. Does anybody have questions?
No,
No?
no questions right now.
All right.
Eric, you said you're going to send a set of those slides out to us.
I will. Yeah, I will definitely send them out. I think what we'll do is, let's see here. Let me get you back on the, some reason when I get rid of the slide thing, it got rid of the pictures of everybody. Okay, there we go. All right, so yeah, some fun facts about the Billboard top 100s, mixed in with some regulation stuff that I know is not that fun to read. But I think if you have more questions, please let me know. I think that there's some good things to realize with some of the definitions. So if you are looking at modifying some of your language that you have in your policies, this guidance will definitely give you that little edge. So I think some of these things we've been wanting to know for a long time, and finally with some of these updates they were able to do that.
Will you send that out, or where do we find the specific documents?
Okay, well with the and the actual IM went out last April. We sent that out. But yeah, I can send out my fun little presentation too, and you can take a look at that at your leisure too, because I have highlighted some things, and I've also I've italicized a few things. So this will be split up too. Then this will kind of break it down. What I wanted to do is just make sure that you guys were aware of some of these things now, because it will, eventually we will have to put these into our state plan and area plans. So anyways, so there's that. Now, if nobody has any questions, I will send that out. I know, Rachel, you had a couple questions that you wanted to ask. And then whoever wants to stick around, I can show you how to do the signing up for or how to modify the senior center list online. So go ahead, Rachel.
Okay, we're still just working on fine tuning the home delivered meal stuff and the assessments and trying to determine all that. But another thing that we've been running into is if you mail out the contribution letters, some people don't have a stamp, or some people don't want to pay for a stamp. They're going to pay for a meal. Then they end up handing it to volunteer drivers, and they're just handing these people cash. And no matter how many times you're telling them, hey, you can't do this. I mean, it seems to be a regular, you just always keep running into it. And so does anybody use like a return envelope for them to
We
send
did
their
many years ago.
contribution back?
Can you hear me?
Years ago, we used a gold envelope, one of those, not gold, but the color, the orangey manila things, that they were small, and to put in like cash deposits, and they would give those to the deliverer. But then again, it's who knows, but I don't remember why we got rid of those.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. We use return.
Oh, it cut off.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with your microphone, Caitlin. You just need a new microphone.
You can type a comment.
Yeah, you can put a
it in
comment in the
yeah.
chat box.
And then the other thing again was about the frozen meals. So right now we had an initial letter that said how to reheat your frozen meals or your cold meals. But they're only getting that every so often. As far as labeling what's on it, we just write on the thing what's in it, the date it was packed. Do you guys use a label system that has those directions on there? Do the directions vary based by what's frozen?
That'd be a good question for, hold on. Carmen, you've been doing that, haven't you?
Yes, I didn't get my unmute button done quick enough. We do, but are you using the Oliver package system, or what? How are you freezing your meals, Rachel?
We just have the containers that have a lid, and then we just freeze them.
Okay. Our label maker that came with our Oliver system actually tells you how to reheat those meals. It tells you what's in the meal. My thought would be just to make a bunch of stickers up, and
Right.
the minute you put those in that freezer, stick those on, because you're not going to be able to do it otherwise. But
Right.
I would just stick those on so that you can kind of find out. I mean, at least you have something on there for them. But our system actually will tell you how to reheat the meals.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing those too, Carmen. That was a really good way of,
Mhm.
yeah, that was awesome. And that way, just when you're doing them, you just literally just print them off and then just slap them on there.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And then my, oh,
Was it
last-
Juana? I think so. Caitlin said, yeah, she said that we use return envelopes, but they do not have postage.
okay. Allison created labels for grab and go in Avery with the directions. That'd be wonderful. Thank you. She's gonna send a copy.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank
And
you.
then the other one, it feels kind of out of the scope now. I should have asked it last meeting. But until I was out and about in the community and I attended a couple events and webinars from SAGE, which is the LGBTQ plus for the aging population. And so I'm just curious, do any of our AAAs have any services or resources or are a part of any type of programs for that area of the aging? Do they go to fairs or, you know, how are people reaching that minority group?
Ben, you took SAGE training, didn't you? Ben, you took the SAGE training, did you? Oh yeah. Allison said they've been using SAGE training also. I'll let you guys speak.
Yeah, I was gonna say some area agencies on aging received specific certification from SAGE. Essentially, what that signified was that their practices were informed by best practices related to working with the LGBTQ community. Like their things all the way from like the way that like the agency might be physically set up or present itself, or even just that documents and assessments use like inclusive language, those kinds of things. But I don't know that there was ever anything that was specifically in terms of like outreach, that sort of thing. Like what types of events or what types of outreach efforts were specifically made to reach that population.
Okay.
I think that's, that's probably kind of largely dictated by
Area.
Yeah, by area, right? Exactly.
No, very good. I just wasn't sure if people attended, there's just, we attend like state fair. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good question. And if anybody has more information on it, please share. I know that that's part of sort of, with the outreach and inclusivity. I know that's I know that the federal goals do want more of that and reaching out to LGBTQ plus community and making sure that whether if you have SAGE training, if there's something that you can do to maybe promote inclusivity within the agency, and there's certain tasks you can do, that would be a good thing to share. So yeah, anybody who does it, please feel free to share. So that'd be great.
Cheryl, are you on the call? Remind me, if you are, that's a piece that at some point in time, some best practices might be presented during either your care management coordinator's call or the family caregiver program coordinator's call. Is that correct?
Okay, which part? I'm sorry. What are you asking about being presented?
Best practices for or considerations at least for outreach to the LGBTQ plus community. I think that you went over some practices related to that.
Yeah, we already did
previously.
from something from our state plan. I think the only thing that references that we will go over for these updates, I think are in the greatest social need. It does reference that specifically, but other than that, I don't, because you're talking about for the regulation updates.
Well, what I was really talking about is, did you pass along or present some information about methods for reaching out to that population in their community, in communities in Nebraska?
I did, sorry, I'm trying to pull up and see what I can find for that.
And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm sorry. Maybe
That's okay.
if you have some information or resources about it, we can pass it along to Eric and it can be sent out.
Oh, sure.
Because
Yeah,
I think there was, I just don't remember
I
well
did. I
enough
think
to
it was one of the,
talk about it off the top of my head.
yeah, and that's why I'm trying to look back to make sure I don't say the wrong thing. So, but yeah, I definitely can pass it over to Eric if he wants to.
Yeah, whenever. Yeah, just whenever,
Send that
Cheryl.
out.
No
Okay.
problem. I can send out stuff. So I'll send out my presentation to you guys, and you can kind of get the slides to look to see how some of those regs are broken down. So yeah, we can include all that too in there. No, that works. Thank you, Cheryl. Any other questions? Any more questions, Rachel? Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna hit stop recording. Thank you.